the reality is it's not the numbers of people affected. It's the fact that this is the 27th delay. And the president would sort of, with a shrug of his shoulders, pretend that this is just an administrative tweaking of the law when it's in fact a changing of the law by presidential fiat, something that many people, myself included, don't believe he's entitled to do. I mean, you have small businesses that have been planning for the implementation of the law one way, have been in some cases making many different kinds of arrangements to prepare for the law this one way, and then the president, as he's done so many times in the past, just decides with a wave of his hand that he is now going to change the law and it's going to be something entirely different than was actually passed by Congress. This is a problem. I mean, it's a problem not only for the health and the strength of Obamacare if you're the president, but it's a problem for the rule of law in the country. I mean, how can people know how to implement the law? How can people make decisions about what they're going to do with respect to their health care, whether you're talking about individuals, small businesses, legislators, and others? If the law changes from week to week, it's a terrible precedent. The president's doing it again. I think it's not going to be the last time we see something like this.
Kirsten, what about his explanation today and how that played?
Well, I think his explanation is probably the true explanation, that they need to do this. But at the same time, it's now gotten to the point where it seems like there's an exemption made for pretty much everybody except for individuals, who a lot of people who have really been sort of screwed over by this law, you know, who are left, some people without insurance or with extremely expensive insurance. So, you know, I think that Ron Fournier of the National Journal wrote something that ran today about, you know,
this was after he expressed himself last night on the panel.
Yeah, so the headline was, you know, why I'm getting tired of defending Obamacare. And, you know, I'm going to say amen, brother, because it's exactly how I feel. People who have supported this law, who support universal health care, are constantly put in a position of having to defend this president who has really incompetently put this together, rolled it out, and that's why he has to do this. That's why he has to keep doing this, because it's not working.
Yeah, and it's interesting to see Washington react to it. Take a listen to the head of the CBO today in questioning about how this is all coming to pass and when they learned about it.
Yesterday's announcement was, of course, as much a surprise to us as you. These things are complicated, so people have started to look at it, but we have reached no conclusions yet.
At the rate the administration is changing this law unilaterally, I think your people are going to have to be working overtime, because it seems like it's a moving target.
I assure you, Senator, the people who work in healthcare are working overtime.
So it's as surprise to them as it was to lawmakers on the Hill.
Look, it's unbelievably hypocritical. Remember when Republicans were trying to change the law legally and constitutionally in Congress? They were accused of being terrorists. They were taking the country hostage, when they were saying, let's amend the law as written. And then instead what the Democrats are doing is amending the law without any constitutional a legal way to do it, by the fiat issued by the executive, which is completely lawless. I don't see how there's any argument about how it can be done. The excuse of Democrats is this is a way to implement the law. But this, in fact, is a way to not implement the law. It isn't as if there was a tweak that was made that would make it easier. Small business has had 4 years to prepare for this change. Adding another year doesn't change anything. It doesn't make it any easier. Everybody has known. Everybody is waiting. It's simply a way to make sure that it is postponed long enough so it has less impact on Democrats in this election than in coming elections. Look, the administration could plausibly postpone this forever, and there was talk about a 3-year postponement, which would kick it past the 2016 election. This is lawless. There are lawsuits in the system making their way up. If it ever reaches the Supreme Court, I think this kind of thing will be struck down and heavily criticized.